Sono lieto di poter rievocare, in poche parole, le esperienze delle prime trasmissioni radiotelegrafiche a grandi distanze, da me felicemente eseguite attraverso l'Oceano Atlantico il 12 dicembre 1901.
Holy snapping bra straps.
It's a podcast. Republic of Avalon Radio. It's 0 hours Avalon Standard Time. Republic of Avalon Radio.
The best radio in the whole wide world!
You're with the roar!
Republic of Avalon Radio. You are with the roar, and so are we.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey.
Woo-hoo.
We're the roasters.
We are the roasters.
Do. So we are back after a long hiatus, and thankfully not a hiatus hernia.
Indeed.
We hate it when that happens.
We would not like that.
Nope. And yes, it is August 2013, and we are ambling along on a very breezy evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know, what time is it, about 9:45?
It's about 10:30.
10:30 in the evening, and we're about to get off the road and not get knocked down. And
Beautiful evening.
it's a beautiful evening.
It's almost a full moon.
Almost a full moon. What is that?
Almost. Well, there's a little piece missing still.
Oh, really?
But it's really bright. And
Jaja, get out your
bright and beautiful.
paintbrush and paint in that extra little bit, the missing piece for us, please. Yes, creator of the universe, please.
Are we going to go down
Finish.
over in the
Yeah,
field?
sure.
Okay.
Please finish your full moon. Is that where the lads went?
Yes.
So we're following the lads.
Well, I'm trying to go a way that we won't kind of run into them.
All right.
Okay, here we go.
Because I got things to say here, and I don't want to be interrupted. Yes, so we are here this evening to serve a dual purpose, really. One thing we want to do is just get out and stretch the legs and get the heart and lungs working a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And another purpose is to tell you guys a little bit about what we've been up to lately and what's happening, and how you may possibly be able to be a part of that for your own edification or for our assistance or encouragement or whatever. And well, at some point in the future, we'll tell you a little bit more about what Lillian's up to with her documentary project, and how things are going quite well with that. Very, in terms of, let's say, encouragement, not so much in terms of anything really tangible, but lots of encouraging news for sure. But I'm here today really more than anything to tell you about a new album that I will be releasing. The current release date is November 7th. And of course, we're very much looking forward to that. But between now and then, Lots to do. Lots and lots to do. How can I tell you about this album? Maybe I'll just give you the little background story to it. Good friend of mine, Rod, and myself, several months ago, were talking about and listening to what I sort of nicknamed FLRs, full-length recordings. In other words, albums, recordings that, you put them on at the beginning, and of course you listen through the middle part and end up at the end. So it's not, for example, like a book of short stories, just to use the book analogy. It's more like a novel. So you kind of follow through from the beginning to the end. And we have many examples of this in terms of audio recordings, music recordings. And the most common and best known of, there we go, my elastic band, due to oxidization, has broken. So the little hat on top of the R9 here, we hope it holds. It's a bit breezy. Lillian made, I designed and Lillian made a few years ago. Our old stalwart listeners will remember, perhaps, that we made a little wind screen excuse me, for the R9. And this is the old windscreen that I managed to find. So I stuck it on because it looked a bit breezy out. I'm also engaging the low-cut filter. Low-cut filter. Rolling off everything below 100 hertz, for those who are interested. So yeah, like the kind of things you might think of in terms of the kinds of recordings that we were talking about are albums like, I don't know, Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Tommy, Crime of the Century, I suppose maybe the White Album, whatever. Thick as a Brick, Jethro Tull, those kinds of records, those kinds of albums. By the way, the term album just means a group of things put together, so that has nothing to do with a vinyl disc. So like a photo album is just a group of photos put together. A record album just means a group of recordings put together. That can be on a CD or a vinyl 33 1/3 disc. Or anything, large enough to handle the capacity of time. For example, a 33 1/3 vinyl disc can hold up to 45 minutes of content. And a compact disc, which is kind of misleading. If the one that holds 45 minutes is called long play, LP, then you think the compact disc might be a shortened, lesser version of that, but it's not. You can get, I guess, up to, I think it's 74 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Onto an audio CD. So, not to get bogged down in the mundane, people think of vinyl discs when they think of these records, because these records, again, record just short for recording, these recordings were released on 33 1/3. And they were released on 33 1/3 because at that time this was a format that came out that allowed people to do more than just release 45s, singles and so on. The LP was the vehicle for people who wanted to release, longer full-length recordings or FLRs as I call them. The reason why I call them FLRs is because it doesn't have anything to do with vinyl discs or compact discs or even hard drives or anything. You can have no discs and release short single songs or full-length recordings, meaning multiple pieces of music kind of that flow together. So that's it for that. That's the end of that mundane description. So anyway, the more interesting, now that we've cleared the mundane, what do you call that? Barrier. Where it gets more interesting is my friend Rod and myself and Lillian got about to listening to some of these full-length recordings. And my friend Rod is a person who, when he digs something, he really digs something. You know, he's enthusiastic. He has chutzpah. He just, when you got him on your team, boy, if everybody on your team were as enthusiastic about the team, just you wouldn't be able, it would be no beating you kind of thing. So he was very enthusiastic about the concept of the full-length recording, and he rather liked my, coining of the phrase as well, I think. So we listened to The Wall. It's, 2 albums. We listened to the first one. It's two discs. The one album is comprised of 2 discs. Okay, so let's keep that terminology straight too. We listened to the equivalent of the vinyl side 1 and side 2. And I found myself a little bit, and Lillian did too, a little bit underwhelmed, really. And we listened to a couple of other albums. We listened to Thick as a Brick, Jethro Tull, and I said to my buddy Rod, I said, boy, oh boy, I said, I can't listen to any more of this, like in the context that we were. Don't get me wrong, it's not because I think it's a bad album or anything like that. It's just in the context, in search of the FLR, the full-length recording. It was, to me, it sounded very contrived, it sounded very deliberate, and, whoops, sorry about the wind, folks. What I said to my friend Rod was, you can't take this seriously. These guys are taking the mickey here, It's too, and I said these words, over the top. It's too over the top and too bombastic. I know these guys are, having one over on us. There's like tongue-in-cheek. They're being sarcastic, And Rod didn't try to argue with me about it or anything. He figured he would go and, Google is your friend. And he figured, well, Jim is my friend, so I won't argue with him. But Google is my friend too, so I'll go and look it up. And sure enough, he landed on an interview with Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull. Excuse me. And in the article, Ian was saying, and I had some interactions with him over the years. I haven't had any contact with him for a long time now, but anyway, hello Ian if you're listening. Hope to run into you again soon. Anyway, he said the album that Jethro Tull had done before Thick as a Brick, everybody was touting as being some sort of prog rock concept album. Now there's the term, finally you've heard it for the first time. I've finally gotten around to mentioning the concept album, which is what we're dealing with here. And he said it was the furthest thing from their minds. The album before that was not their attempt to make a prog rock concept album. So, feeling like they were totally misunderstood and being pegged wrong and all that stuff, they figured, well, what can we do? We can fight it or we can go with it. So apparently they decided, well, if they want a prog rock concept album, we'll bloody well give them one. So they did Thick as a Brick. And in the interview, Ian Anderson said, so we decided to do the prog rock concept album. Very sarcastic, very tongue-in-cheek, and so we made it as quote-unquote over the top and bombastic as we could. So, music, if you listen to music, it'll tell you a lot. You don't have to be a musicologist or anything like that, or a composer. I happen to be, a composer, arranger, all that stuff, but anyway, armed with whatever I was armed with, I was able to discern this, and even somehow miraculously pull out the exact phrase, over the top and bombastic. So as soon as Rod read that, he was, I think Fidler's pretty well grounded. I think he knows a little bit about what he's talking about. So anyway, that was pretty funny. But it actually did happen, folks. And so I think it was the night we listened to The Wall. The very next day, I was thinking along the lines of, okay, here's my friend Rod, who is a musician, not engaged professionally in music and the music industry and the music business and all that, but he's had his time in the past and may have times in the future as well. I don't know, but he's played with groups and been out and made people happy, entertained people and all that, and he's actually done it solo. Recently, several months back, got back from his whirlwind tour of Nova Scotia, where he dazzled them and all that. Just him and a guitar. But I was thinking to myself, I hear what they're doing, and to give you guys an oversimplification, I hope somebody finds this interesting, because this is like the long version. Of course, I'll be interviewed about the album and all that stuff when it comes out, and that's when I get to give all the 30-second answers that they edit down to 3 seconds. But I'm giving you guys the long haul, all the background. So anyway, we were listening to the album, and I had this kind of feeling, okay, just like an artist who can recognize different brush techniques and things like that, I saw what they were doing with the melodies and the rhythms and the various pieces of the record, and how, to me, it was very obvious that this, just like all the others that I had checked out looking for a so-called concept album, wasn't really. It didn't stick to its thing all the way through. You have a title and a picture on the front, and then on the record, on the album somewhere, there's maybe a beginning track and an ending track that maybe have something to do with the concept, and then a whole lot of stuff in between that really has nothing to do or is remotely related or whatever, and a track here and there that is related to the theme. But I couldn't really find much in the way of albums that the title, the cover, front and back, and all the music on the album related to whatever the theme was supposed to be. And beyond that, the music very obviously sounded to me like separately written songs that had just been kind of agreed on the band. Okay, at the end of this song, let's cut into the next one, or let's record this one and fade it out, and then we'll crossfade this other song, or things like that. But they were all totally separate songs joined together on a record, and that's not what I've been looking for really as much. I think my favorite still of anything like that is a kind of a hard to find album by Mike Oldfield called Amarok. Man, you get that baby and turn up your hi-fi and sit back and listen to that from beginning to end. That's an album. That's an album. That gets thumbs up number 1 for me. And I like all the others too. I love Dark Side of the Moon and Crime of the Century and, you know, The Wall and this and that. Surely. But they don't really fully qualify. And Amarok doesn't really either. But I find Amarok is a lot more brilliant than, say, The Wall. If you think The Wall is good, I'm not kidding you, folks. If you think The Wall is some kind of ultimate great thing, go listen to Amarok by Mike Oldfield, and you'll be blown away. Anyway, listening to The Wall, being kind of underwhelmed, and recognizing all these little things that I could see. Maybe it's because I'm involved in music composition and arrangement and production and recording. Maybe it's more obvious to me than it is to the average person. But in any case, it was obvious to me. So the very next day, just for my buddy Rod, I thought, all right, I'm going to go into the studio, as I always do every day. And I'm just going to, okay, in my head, okay, let's just open up my mind here. What comes to me? So within a couple of hours, I had a song done. And it was called Mr. Man. It was about a kid looking up on the stage or at the TV or whatever and seeing this guy up there, you know, kind of like a god, the rock star, you know. And oh boy, I wanna do that. Give me that. I wants to do that. What that guy doing up there, I wants to do that. You know, that kind of thing. And I don't even think I got a chance to play it to him that day. And that became the first well, let me not get ahead of myself. And the very next day I got up and I had this other little thing banging around in my head. And this was a little song about the kid who looked up on the stage or on the TV and saw the guy and said, I won't do that. And more or less now he's at the point where he's going to his mother and saying, I wants me electric guitar. So I guess through however it happens, I guess he gets his electric guitar. But as it turns out, it turns out to be more work than he thought. And you actually need a lot of discipline. You need to practice and rehearse and learn and things you need to do, finger technique, how you hold the guitar. Did I mention learning how to tune it? Yes, fascinating. So that was like the second day after we listened to Half of the Wall. And the third day I got up and I had something else pounding in my head, pounding around. And I thought to myself, you know what? I think if I keep this up, I'm going to have an album. So why should I just brush it away and just carry on back to whatever I was thinking about and working on before? This seems to be pounding at my door. And I open the door and stuff is pouring in. And the other thing is, these songs, I just kind of came up with the music, or the music came to me, and I just hit record and just babbled all the words into the mic. So I didn't actually sit down with pen and paper and write the lyrics even. They were all spontaneous. They were improvised. They were, you know, whatever folks say is real, you know, real. Same with the music. Now, as it turns out, folks, that song from the first day is track 1 on the new album. The song from the second day is track 2 on the new album. And there is a new album, and the whole album is finished and complete and all mixed and everything. And every single song on that album is of that improvised lyric thing, where I would just kind of open myself up to the universe, the music would come to me, I would lay down enough of it to have something to follow, and then I would just get in front of the microphone and just start babbling. And then when it was over, I'd listen back to it and say, maybe I came up with bits that I'll keep. I'll make up some other bits. But 99% of the time, I ended up keeping everything. I think there's 2 songs where I went back. One, I actually thought of a verse while I was sort of in pause mode and just thought it up in my head and then recorded it. And another one, I said something, it was a phrase, and I went back and listened to it, and I thought, that phrase doesn't exactly mean what I think I want to mean. So I changed like 2 words or something like that and just re-sang that one little piece. Because of course I was still sitting by the same mic with the same levels and everything. So when you listen to the album, which hopefully you do, you won't actually hear that. And I won't even tell you where it is. And don't look for it because you wouldn't notice it anyway. So the album's done, it's finished. And we're going to be releasing it on the 7th of November. Lots more information coming about that. But, of course, doing all this work, by the way, from beginning to end, from the day that I started it to the day I finished it, turned out to be exactly 8 months, right to the day, which is very interesting. I haven't calculated how many days that was, but 8 months right to the day. So, how did that work out? I think I actually finished the last twiddle on it, say on... I'm just making up a date out of my head. When I decided it was absolutely finished was maybe, say, July 15th. And I went back and looked, and sure enough, I started that first day when I recorded that Mr. Man thing was on December 15th. So 8 months... was that 7? No, 8.
I think it was August.
August?
That you finished.
Okay. Yeah, well, anyway, August I finished. Anyway, it was 8 months to the day. So, all of that time working and not doing anything else, and kind of dealing with a few health issues and just trying to get back on my feet and hope that I'm not dying and all these things. I haven't died yet. Still alive. But I haven't really been able to do anything other than, stay home, keep an even keel, and get a whole heck of a lot of work done, thankfully. That doesn't do a whole lot, in terms of paying the bills. So Lillian is mounting an Indiegogo campaign where hopefully folks will help us out, will like the concept of the record, and I will be back with more details about the whole project and play you some samples from the album. And when we launch the Indiegogo campaign, there will be samples of the songs.
Yeah.
Really, I would say the art of album making is dead, pretty much. It's gone. It's a dead art form. So it's probably the last thing in the world at one of the big record companies. If I were signed to a major label, it's probably the last thing they'd be recommending that I do. But because I'm not signed to a major label, and because I so love and miss the album, what started out as a kind of a way to show my buddy that, hey, this stuff can be done. It's not just done by these people in this certain decade, in this case the 70s. It really bloomed into my full love and respect for the album and for all those people who really took the time and put the work in and probably could have banged out hits, which they did anyway. All those albums produced hits.
That's true.
And this album that I just recorded is not full of obscure, self-indulgent 15-minute passages of noises and people running around and laughing in the echo chambers and stuff like that. It's, they're actual songs. Mm-hmm. And folks tend to say, the few that have heard the material from this album, they seem blown away and
Yeah.
Oh my God, they can't believe how catchy the songs are and how there's so many catches and hooks and lines.
Getting some amazing feedback so far.
Yeah.
Really just over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to be a special one.
Make our way back?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I can actually say it myself because I didn't sit down and toil to pen all these lyrics and compose all this music. I gotta tell you guys, seriously, if you believe in not a guy with a beard on a cloud, but if you believe, when you look around at all the planets and the stars and all the little puppy dogs and elephants and daffodils and mountains and all these things, or even just the human, the central nervous system, or the human eye, and you recognize intelligent design. There are a lot of people who don't believe in the guy with the beard on a cloud that do admit that there is evidence, if you wanted to look at it forensically, scientifically, empirically, logically, level-headedly, that there would seem to be a lot of evidence all around us of intelligent design. Now, what does that mean? I guess to a lot of people, oh yeah, the God thing. Well, yeah, maybe the God thing. That's as good a name as anything for that thing or those things. But to personify it and try to picture it as a guy with a beard and, with beakers in a lab creating the universe and all that, that's too foolish to even imagine. I think the Big Bang is mathematically beyond improbable, to the point of being, you might as well say, impossible. And the evolutionary theory, operating hand in hand in total contrast to the laws of thermodynamics. If the universe is experiencing entropy, then this whole evolution thing, to any scientific mind, should be at least deserving of being questioned. And it is a theory by its own definition, and so is the Big Bang. So anyway, what I'm saying is, one theory is as good as another. That's all fair play. I think that's why all of us folks here in this life, looking around and experiencing life and trying to figure out what we what we can contribute to it, maybe leave the world better than we found it somehow. And also, by extension, I guess, what is here for us. I think it's all fair play, really. So, in the case of this music,
I'm gonna go around the back.
okay, in the case of this music and this album, I really don't feel like it came from me. That, oh ho, aren't I clever for coming up with all this? I really didn't come up with very much of it at all. It was more a matter of just kind of closing your eyes, spinning the wheel, and there it is. So I'm excited about it, and I really do like the album myself. So I hope when you guys get a chance to hear some of the music, maybe I'll play one of the tracks here now. But playing any one given track doesn't really give you an idea of the album. That's the thing. They are all individual songs, but they flow together, meant to be heard together. There we go. But we will keep you guys up to date. And if you know anybody who... Leave that open for the moment, hey? Okay. If you know anybody who's been a Roar listener and might not be subscribed anymore, might have drifted away, please mention it to them. They're back! And tell them to resubscribe and drop us an email. Go to the website republicofavalonradio.com and just give us a shout. Let us know that you're still there, you're still listening. And of course there's the Skype there, the user Republic of Avalon Radio, just all one word. You can send us a message on Skype Or you can also call that using just a good old landline. The number is 724-426-8176. That's 724-426-8176. And there's email on there too, and all that kind of jazz. So we'd love to hear from you, and we're very excited about this album. And we hope that when people get to hear this album, they'll say, oh my God, somebody has made an album, and a good one, and I love it. And oh man, I wish more people these days were actually making albums and not just a disc with a bunch of separate sort of MP3s. What's that? Maybe I'll be a trendsetter, Lillian said. I don't think I'm going to be a trendsetter, but the trend is kind of long ago, and I'm just bloody well slow. I didn't do this album in 1979. I did it in 2003. So I'm the opposite of a trendsetter. I'm coming in last, I guess. And anyway, go over to the website, say hello to us, let us know that you're still there and you're still listening and you still give a smurf, and we certainly hope you do. And that will encourage us to do some more, get some more episodes in the can and send them out to you guys. And as you know from the past, when we were up and running and enthusiastic, we created, with the help of many of you, some really good, really interesting content. And that's what this is here for. Republic of Avalon Radio is all about kind of my way of doing radio, and our way, both Lillian and myself, of, as I said, with you guys. Yeah, man. Yeah. With the help of all of you, just creating some good content and throwing something into a kind of a time capsule too, because all of this stuff will be backed up and put up on archive.org, and you never know, 1,000 years from now folks could be sitting around listening to this. And if this is 1,000 years from now and you're listening to this, then a great big hello to you. Let me just tell you that I'm just walking out to my door here, and it's 2013, and outside there are trees. There's wind blowing in the trees outside. It's a little bit humid. It's probably about 80% humidity. Temperature's probably about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 18 degrees Celsius. And we still use that old Edison-style alternating current in our houses, and everything is all hooked up with power wires, and doctors are still cutting and burning and poisoning people, and it's a pretty barbaric time, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. We're hopeful, and we're pushing to try to make things possible for you guys 1,000 years into the future. So if you're hearing this, then I guess we people who thought about that succeeded, and we didn't fail, because the other guys who were trying to blow it all up and all of that seem to be having a whole lot of luck these days. So we hope they fail, we hope we succeed, and we hope you're having a nice day 1,000 years into the future. Best wishes from Republic of Avalon Radio 1,000 years ago in 2013. So here's the song, folks. I'll play you a song called excuse me. It's track, what is it? 1, 2, 3. Track 3 on the record. It's called Not the Thing at the End of the Line. And enjoy. You're listening to Republic of Avalon Radio.
Come on, people, let's get together. All we need is a break in the weather, and whether we make it or break it, we're going to be fine. 'Cause the journey's the thing, not